All right, there we go. Woohoo. Welcome to today's meditation. We are jamming this week on the law of one, universal oneness. Essentially, the law of one states that everything is unified, that there is an infinite field of connection. And at the core of that connection, or what that field is comprised of, is love. And so the information on this, there was a channel that was done by what's known as the Raw Contact, a group of individuals in the early 80s, 1981 to be exact, spent 3 months channeling specific information as it related to the law of one, and did all of this off of what's known as the Raw Contact, or the entity, the channel was called the Raw Contact. So the wisdom and information was really laid the foundation for different understandings about modern spirituality today, and really imparted the concept of free will. So if we are part of this universal law of one, then the purpose and the insight and what we are here to achieve and to accomplish in this lifetime as humans and on this human journey is to exercise our free will. And so the Raw Contact itself is incredibly long, incredibly dense, fascinating to listen to, but you can't do it in one sitting. And it all speaks into the concepts of free will and what this universal law of love is about, and then the philosophical implications of that. As we are all more familiar at this time, since the 80s, as you can imagine, with the field of one, with the quantum, and a lot of the concepts that modern science has brought to the forefront, becoming the modern language, if you will, of spirituality. We have a pretty good understanding of some of the mechanics. And so I find it fascinating that these concepts that were discussed during the Raw Contact and in that channel had yet to be experienced, yet to be unfolded. And if we think to, the things that our culture and humanity was dealing with in the early 80s, coming out of the 70s, the Iran crisis, a down depression, or a depression in the economy, so many different things. And spirituality was very religious base versus the encouragement of discovering for yourself what your spirituality is all about. And so I think it's fascinating that this information came through. Of course, it was very much outside the box. And yet we know now today how on track they had been, and how really, really connected to a very unique and special field of energy they were. And I can only imagine what they went through. And they talk about it in part, but what they went through to actually achieve some of the wisdom and information that came through in that channel. I don't usually fall into following these different things, but the Raw Contact in particular invokes a very deep and core central connection for each of us, which is why we're talking about it this week. It's a field and a vibration of energy that is truly anchored in the source point, if you will, at the beginning of the beginning, before there was anything else. It is truly brings us right out of all of the machinations that happen in our heart and drops us deeply into the vibrational fields. So that's what we're up to this week. We aren't focusing on the concepts of free will, but rather how to attune to the vibrational field, so that as you go through 2022 and exercise your free will and feel compelled to take a stand in the different ways that we're all being called and challenged to really step out into our own individual unique power, that centering, if it's like we kind of bobble with so much influence, especially at the beginning of this year, we have the field of Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. Those are all very collective orientation, meaning that there's a lot of influence and a lot of focus, if you will, on the greater good, on the whole, on much less on the individual. So finding our voice is of utmost importance. That's what this year is about, is really standing in it, holding it strong, and taking action on what you deem to be your unique truth. So this purpose is to help you release all of those other noises, understand what this field feels like in your body, so that as you navigate through the year, you have this to fall back on. So with that being said, here we are, we're dropping in. Yesterday was the field of love. Today we are tuning into the light, the concept of the light, everything in the law of one out of this universal field. It's made up of love, it's made up of light, and we get to move forward from there. So taking a nice deep breath in, I invite you to begin to just settle in to this environment, to the room that you're in, to the sounds around you, to feel the nature around you. Even if you're indoors, stretching your consciousness and intention out to any plants, to the sounds of water, the sounds of the air moving, just noticing how nature shows up around you as you breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. And just feeling yourself settling in. And today, as we did yesterday, connecting to that golden light, that sunshine shining down. And again, expanding beyond, as we have many times when we begin our light link, just connecting to that golden light. So going with where you typically start, meaning imagining stepping outside the door and feeling the sun blasting down on you. Or maybe you just feel the warmth in your cells and on your body. This golden light today, we are going to up level, kind of tune to a little bit more focused frequency of it. And so if we are imagining ourselves connecting to that golden light and suddenly imagining a snow globe, if you will, around us, and the light that we experience is coming from within that snow globe, I invite you to imagine a beam or a laser penetrating through that snow globe, much more focused, much greater intensity, and just sending your consciousness and just beyond the top of that dome or that globe of golden light energy. And really, as though you have an antenna or a cord that's reaching up and out of your mind, carving that path up into the heavens, up into the cosmos, and feeling this pulsing of light, this intensity of light, almost so intense that if you were to imagine running your hand underneath it, it would feel like you'd be afraid it'd burn, or even so intense, like if it were a laser, right? Like cause major damage. But trusting and knowing that the growth and the development and the meditation you've done leading you up into this point has prepared you to receive an increase in the frequency, to see this golden light, this laser beam of energy, and noticing how different this feels when we call it in a highly focused way. Excuse me. A highly focused way, piercing and penetrating. And imagining it, if it's hitting the top of our head, all the way down through our body, into the earth, piercing and penetrating into the earth without us even having to try. As we move to the second part of our light link, it's as though it burns that hole right down and through the earth into the center towards the crystal quartz. And of course, I'm yawning as the vibration shifts from that higher, really intense frequency into the earth vibration. Taking a breath and allowing your body now to adjust to the earth frequency. Feeling the difference in the megahertz So it's as though if we were to have like a buzzing, like a really, really high frequency when we tune into the golden light, we're playing around with our sense of clairaudience, and then tuning in to the earth and feeling that slow cadence and rhythm, like a drum beat, like a heartbeat. And imagining these two frequencies, one a high-pitched buzzing, and then that low and slow heartbeats of the earth. The vibrations as we imagine the sounds in our body, feeling that pulsing as we breathe in and out through our own heartbeat synchronizing with the earth as you breathe in and out, and coming into your heart now, and just noticing how your body feels, making any adjustments. If you need to twist in your torso, roll your shoulders to kind of open the energy up, or yawn to allow more in. Go ahead and do so. Breathing in and out. As we prepare to start our journey today into the universal field of one. In some ways, we could just stay right here forever because I can sense all of you are on it, and whatever sensory is coming through and past and to across your mind, just observe and let it continue to move past, and know and feel this deep, deep intensity. We have a unique field astrologically present to us right now that is connected to Gemini. It's in the sign Gemini. It's the black moon of Lilith, which is our internal realm. And it illuminates not only our shadow, but also our light, our highs and our lows. And so using that right now as we all are dropping in to frequencies that we knew as children. As kids, we were much more finely attuned to the intensity and the nature of spirit and the nature of the earth. Much more out of the mind. And so as we begin our journey today, recalling yourself as a young child, not knowing what all of these sensations and intensities were, you would never have labeled them or identified them as a deeper spiritual connection. And yet your mind hadn't been molded and shaped and pushed and prodded into conforming, into surviving, into going to school, into learning. There was an inherent wisdom that you possessed at that time. And today, that wisdom is what we get to call forth. So continuing to drop in as you hold these frequencies, harmonizing that high buzzing intensity of that laser beam, as well as feeling that earth frequency beneath you. In the best way I can describe, to imagine and to capture all of this energy is in the same way the earth takes in the rain. Let your body take in your soul. Let your body take in this very expanded, intense frequency of the raw contact of the law of one. Immediately peeling back the layers, feeling yourself, imagining yourself as that child. It doesn't have concern or care or worry about survival, about responsibility, but is simply free to play, to be curious, to explore, is simply trusting. And as we do this, like one layer after another, it's as though I'm just seeing us all as though we're caked in mud, as though we've been buried in the mud. And as we take in this light from above, It's as though it's hydrating this dry, earthy, caked mud, and it's peeling back. And much like a mask of clay that we would put on to hydrate and nourish our skin, so too, in this week, do we allow for this energy to extract with it as the mud peels away, as this intense laser beam of light focuses down and in on us. That mud, as it cakes off, as it peels off, drawing with it the sediment, the density of the thoughts and the ideas. And underneath, your soul emerges like fresh skin, feeling luscious and open, and able to breathe. So as you breathe here, nice, deep, intentional inhales as though your pores are breathing. Your lungs are breathing in spirit, creating room, heightening the frequency of the energy around you. Breathing in and out. In and out. In and out. In and out. So you take all of this light and this energy in, feeling how sparkly your body feels. And now I invite you to tune back in to that laser beam, that focused, intense energy as it shines down. For today, we are focusing that field of love. So I'm going to walk you through the process so you can, to help you deepen this vibration and this frequency. Allow your mind to follow, or if you wander, don't worry about the details. I'm happy to share in a conversation later. Just focus on your breath, breathing in and out, really, really drawing in and focusing that energy in your body, knowing that breath expands the light within. As you breathe in and out, feeling that golden light pouring down upon you, upon the top of your head, piercing and penetrating through. For from the fields of universal consciousness, like a vast ocean around us, an ocean of energy, this consciousness of love in all of its different vibrations and permutations is constantly expanding out into the world, around the world, manifesting the world. And so as you tune into your environment, knowing that the density of the chair you are sitting in and the walls around you, to the trees outside, to the sound of the wind blowing through the leaves, to the sounds of cars going by, all of it are permutations and expressions of this universal field of love. And so I invite you now to see it in its many colors, not just in the density of the firmness of a wall or the chair beneath you, or the softness of your body and the fragility of the tissues and the light within, but so too focusing on the colors and the way those colors express themselves through art hanging on your walls, to the landscape outside your window, to the sounds, all of these ways that are reflected back to you right here and now. Allowing these multitude, this myriad of colors, like a rainbow in their own disorganized chaos, to unfold before you. And as you breathe in and out, imagining all of these colors, knowing that each color is a representation of different expressions of this field of love. And it's as though we can trace it from our environment immediately around us out to our community, to all the way around the world. As you breathe in and out, feeling the different colors of the planet, and now beginning to feel back into yourself, back into your soul, as we imagine that laser beam of energy. For it's through your focus and your intention that your soul came into being and your soul manifests. It's through this infinite quantum field of love that your desire calls forth the world around you, that your desire to experience your soul calls forth this moment in time. And so as we focus in on this light, this golden light, as you set the intention and desire to call it forth into a focused beam of energy, allowing your mind and your third eye as though it's able to burn open, to expand beyond where it's been before. Feeling this expansion of light as you invite this unified field to become focused in your dreams, in your desires, in your intention, as though we're able to capture it. And as this light transmutes and is interpreted and digested into reality through your third eye and your heart, and as your body, like the temple that it is, holds the space for this light, from here, as you see this myriad of colors coming into focus out of the chaos of all of the different nuances as we had imagined around the world, and into a deep, intense focus within your body. Maybe a particular field of energy becomes present. Maybe you start to see a pulsing of a specific color or a couple of different colors. Notice how that pulsing begins to move. Is it moving away from you or towards you? As you breathe in and out, and knowing that within this light is wisdom, codes, wisdom. And as this light vibrates and pulses in your consciousness, and as your body takes in your soul, takes in this light, this expanded interpretation and version of it, this wisdom gets taken in and taken up into your energy field to be absorbed into the physicality of your body. In the same way the earth takes in the rain, absorbs it, so too does even the most dense parts of your body, your bones, your structure, your core, absorb this light. And with it comes the download of the codes that you need to remind you that you are of this field of infinite consciousness, that there are no limitations, that the limitations you experience, all of the reservations and the emotions that you have about standing in your power, utilizing your voice, speaking truth and love, are just an illusion. And the real truth is you interpreting this light, interpreting this love, and translating it for all the world to experience your unique version and translation of these codes that are downloading into your system now. So what are codes? Codes are wisdom. Light is photons of energy. Photons of energy. A photon is a focus of intention. The Lord said, "Let there be light." And so then did that swirling of gravity, that swirling of energy, like a vortex, bring a photon into being. And the light became. You too are photons of energy. And just like the light and the photons that transfer and move around our planet, carrying the signals and TV and broadcasting and everything else they do in their fiber optics, so too are you, like a fiber optic. Except unlike just simply being a transmitter of that light, your heart has the capacity to digest and to break that light down. And as it does, it deciphers its wisdom. And as you go about living your days and expressing your truth, you begin to paint that canvas of light back out into the world, translating that force of love into an actual emotion. For the field of consciousness is simply love. It's a field of love with all of these varying infinite permutations of it. And yet it takes us as humans to digest this love, to interpret and understand its feeling, its codes, and the different ways in which we're seeking to share those codes. And so the expression of love for each of you may be to know the codes of love. It may be to know the codes of money, to know the codes of relationship, of patterns, of purpose. It's all right here, waiting for your heart to release the veils of illusion where you self-doubt and you question, inviting you to step powerfully in to your purpose, to expressing these codes in your own divine time, in your own free will. So I invite you now to deeply tune in to this field of light around you, feeling even the most dense parts of your body through your shoulder blades, as though you have become this super hyper illuminated star of your own accord, broadcasting your own light out into this third dimension, into the density, because you chose to be expressed, to take this time to bring this expanded light in, to not just be part of the natural landscape, but to enhance its beauty by welcoming in these light codes that are seated with the inherent wisdom of your truth. I invite you here to roll your shoulders, to roll your wrists, to breathe in and out, and to feel this light in your environment, to roll your neck, making room through the neck and the throat. As you breathe in and out. Now, imagining yourself as that little girl. Again, feeling the intensity and the growth in your soul as you connect to the freedom, the innocence, and the curiosity she felt, knowing there's no need for all of the things that collapse this field. As you breathe in and out, feeling the love expand and unfold around you. As you allow your sense of inner vision to begin to match that with your outer vision. taking a moment to feel this laser beam of energy moving through and around you. And so it is. Namaste. I hope it's a beautiful day full of a lot of light and love. I will see you